95.3 WBCK now presents Coach's Corner, live from Lakeview Ford. For over 6 decades, this has been your number one source for all local sports information. Coach's Corner is proudly presented by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now, here's your host, Bill Broderick.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, and the big cheer once again on WBCK for Coach's Corner in downtown Battle Creek at Lakeview Ford on the Motor Mile. For more than 6 decades, Coach's Corner has been talking to the high school coaches about the week in sports. And we'll do that again next with our first coach of the morning. But first, here's the Lakeview Ford Coach's Corner scoreboard. We don't have too many games to talk about in the area, but we have one game coming up in the area. We have Climax Scots playing in the 8-player football Division II playoff game tomorrow, or today at 1 o'clock down at Lenawee Christian. They are number 1 in the state. Climax Scots is number 3 in the state. And they have their hands full for that one. We have also games in the area last night in volleyball. We had the volleyball districts happening. And that was Harbor Creek winning their first district title in Division I. It's the first district title overall. They won in 2020 in Division II. On Thursday night, St. Phil won their 22nd straight district title as the Tigers keep on rolling to the regionals. In the area, we had Gull Lake losing in their Division I district final. So Portage Northern beat the Blue Devils, and they will match up with Harbor Creek in the regionals next week. Marshall saw its string of 7 straight district titles end as they fell to Parma Western in Division II. Also in volleyball action, Bronson won yet another district title. Their perennial power in Division III keeps on rolling. And in Mendon, Athens, who went to the state finals last year in Division IV, they saw their season end earlier in the district. And number 2 ranked Mendon beat number 8 Colon in the district final last night for that one. We will talk to our first coach in the morning after this break on WBCK.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
All right, we're back with our first coach of the morning, Coach Mark Passetti, St. Phil Fighting Tigers. How's it going, Coach?
Good, Bill. How are you?
We had the St. Phil Fighting Tigers went 4-5 this year in 8-player football. That's one game less than last year, 5-4. You guys are still trying to turn the table a little bit with some number issues, and we talked about that a little bit last week. Talk about a little bit of the challenges still, refresh people's memories there, and it's an ongoing process for you guys. Is that right?
Well, it's year to year. We honestly thought we were looking at anywhere from 20 to 22 kids on our team this year. And the way things worked out with some transfers and some kids deciding not to play, we ended up at one time, we had 14. We ended the season with 10, due to injuries and some other issues. But, it is what it is. It seems like every year it's a fight. And every year during the off season, we do exactly what I started doing this week. I was working down at St. Phil today, so I sat down, talked with a lot of the kids as they came through the classes. And, we still have young men that, I'm going to play next year. I'm going to play next year. Well, we always keep going. You don't count on, numbers until they actually draw equipment. And, we're hoping next year that, again, we're back up in at least into the 16-17 range. It makes life just so much easier. But that's right. I have to give our kids all the credit this year because, they got hit with that right away. And it's like, that's fine. They're fine with it. Let's just go to work. Let's go get ready to play football. And it's the only attitude, the coaches can take. We have what we have. We'll go to battle with who we have. And the kids, I give them credit. It didn't faze them okay, so we'll move some people around, and a lot of kids are like, Coach, play me wherever you need me, and let's just go play.
The season is a process for the coaches, especially, and you can't do it alone. And at St. Phil, even though sometimes you feel like you're doing it alone because you don't have much of a staff there, but the idea is that it's a family that kind of gets it done for everybody, and you have a lot of people that help you with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, you start right with the coaches. Brian Schaub's been around for a long, long time. He does a great job with the kids, and the thing that you see, and we've talked about it before. He's a rough, gruff guy, and he doesn't play with the kids. There's things that he's going to accomplish, things he wants to get done, but the kids love him. They can't wait for Coach Schaub to show up at practice every day. They love being around him, and he does just a real good job working with the kids, but even better, dealing with the kids and some of the issues they have. So, you gotta love having people like that. And our other coach, David Downey, who's been with us for a short period of time, and he does just an excellent job running our offense. And, he comes up with schemes and things, and he does just a nice job thinking things through and putting out a good offensive game plan. What's unfortunate, though, is chances are good we're going to lose him. He's been putting off law school. Okay. So, and he can't keep putting that off. We don't want to lose him. And who knows? Maybe it'll work out. We don't, but he needs to move forward. He's kind of got his plan for law school, and he has put it off for a couple of years, and now it's time for him to.
Well, that'd be a lot for him to try to juggle both. That'd be great.
Oh no, yeah, he won't be able to do that. Yeah. He's not going to even try to do that, which we wouldn't want him to. We don't want to lose him, but for his sake, it might be time to move on.
And the administration and the boosters also are a big part of this whole thing, right?
Well, you always complain about the administration because they don't ever give you everything you want. Right. But no, ours has been really good to us. I mean, Vicki Grote and Stacy Lightfoot have stepped up this year and just been a ton of help. They've been behind us the whole way, and they've gone out of their ways to help and try to get things done for us. So you can't ask for more than what they've done for us this year. And our parents we've got great parents. You always hear nightmares about parents and blah 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 from other schools, but not ours. And one thing I can say about our parents they care not just about their kid. They care about all of the kids on our team. They're worried about the team more than they're worried about Johnny, and they will do anything and everything possible to help us out. And they're a lot of fun to talk to, a lot of fun to be around, and that's because it's the way that they think. They've got just a great mindset as far as the way team sports are, and again, they worry more about the team than they do about their son. And it's just, like I said, you hear about headaches from other schools. We don't have that. Our parents are just amazing. Also, I need to talk about our junior high coaches. They go through the same problems we do number wise. And, they're in the hallways, beating the bushes, getting kids to play football. The junior high numbers are a little bit bigger than what we have down at St. Phil, but it's a struggle getting kids out. And we have three guys. Tom Reed runs the junior high for us, and Tommy does a great job. And like I said before, the kids love him, and that's right there. There's a big part. If the kids like you and enjoy being with you, then they're going to want to play. And he's got Ed Tyler and Chris Underhill that helped him out this year. And they do a real good job. I mean, it's amazing what they do. I mean, they had a winning record this year, with very, very limited numbers. But again, Tom does a good job getting as many kids out as he can, and his assistants too. They just do a real nice job.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the junior high program next week. We'll have one of your coaches come down, and we'll dive into that, and that'll be fun.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say?
Real quick, I've got a few other people. Jim at the 20th Street Slotskis and his staff out there, the way they take care of us too, we got to thank them for everything that they do for us. You know, they're just amazing at getting us under control with as far as food and whatnot for away games. They take care of everything. Joe Brucci, who is our bus driver, gets us where we got to go week in, week out. And Tom Lawrence. I mean, a lot of people around Battle Creek know Tom Lawrence, and to us, Tom is God. I mean, he's by far one of the best trainers. You know, we've been lucky. We've had Doc Stevens and Tom Lawrence. We've had two of the best people you could ever have taking care of your kids. And, you know, I always got to thank Tom because he's just amazing. He's always there for anything we could need.
Well, that, like you said, it always takes a whole camp to try to make these football programs go, and even more so at St. Phil. You need all the help you can get. So congrats on the season, Coach, and we'll be talking to you again next fall, but we'll talk to your junior high program guys next week. So
okay.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Coach. We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning on WBCK.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
Hey, we're back with our next Coach of the Morning on Coach's Corner. We have Coach Brett Vernon of the Lakeview Spartans. How's it going, Coach?
Going good, thanks.
Lakeview Spartans had a rally at the end of the season. They won their last 3 games. They went 3-6, which is a good sign for the future. And let's refresh everyone's memory. We talked a little bit about that last week, about how the season kind of ended for you. But that was a nice way to end the season and kind of gives you a leg up going forward. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Good winning 3 games to end the season. And now, we're getting kids in the weight room and, looking forward to next season.
That's the whole process is a year-long thing nowadays for high school football, obviously, and that keeps you busy for that thing. You already talked to the kids about the off-season program and what that might look like, and is that going to be a change for them, or how things are going to go for them?
I think, where it's been in the last few years, the concentration of being in the weight room, getting in there at least 3 times a week is paramount for us to go forward as a program. And that first Monday after we finished our season, we had that weight room open for kids to get on in there. I'm just trying to give them every opportunity to get there, and I've been really happy with, especially our young guys. I mean, we're just starting the process with some of our middle schoolers to get into that weight room, through movement patterns and getting technique down, and then up through our all the way through our juniors to get them in that weight room and get them stronger. And that's what I think when we look around the teams that we've played, that was probably one of our biggest issues, is that we haven't been in the weight room as much as we needed to be, and that's a change that has to happen at Lakeview.
The other thing about running a football program, obviously, is you need a lot of help to do that. You have a nice coaching staff, and some of those guys you brought with you, some of those guys you met just this year. How did that process go? And talk about those guys a little bit.
Technically, everybody other than me is guys that were around the program in years past. And so, my varsity coaching staff, start with Jason O'Connor. Jason O'Connor has been around Lakeview for a while as my defensive coordinator. He does a great job. He loves being part of it, puts in the time and effort he needed every single day to be successful there. And then you go down the program. Tom Wyman is new to Lakeview. He was coaching over at Olivet College for a few years. back, but he just brought a great mind to it, and the kids love him. Love having him part of my coaching staff. Cam Gillette was a former player at Lakeview, and he's got that youthful energy that's great to have around. Josh Woody, been around. He was helping us out this year varsity-wise. And then Tim Berryhill. I can't say enough about Tim. He's offensive line coach and, does a great job with those guys down there. And the growth that we had offensive line-wise from the beginning of the year to the end of the year was huge, and I give him a ton of credit for that. I mean, we had 4 new starters on the offensive line coming in, some brand-new guys, and he did a great job of getting those guys to where at the end of the year we had 3 wins.
Yeah. So the on-field staff is always important, but a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes for everybody, and boosters and the administration, and things don't happen unless people are turning the lights on, or you get the food for the kids at halftime or after the game. So talk about that group a little bit and what they mean to you guys.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, everything starts with the athletic director, Sean Amesbury, just always there, supportive of us. Anything that I need, he's there to help us out with. And then you got to go to the athletic secretary that's probably does a little bit more than, most people think. So Laura Van Dis, just a great job of just being there and willing to help with anything that I needed. And then you just go to the parent support, and we're looking to grow that, but we had some great families that were willing to help us out with team meals before games, during two-a-days, coming in and giving us a nice little meal between them. The Thomases, the Perrys, the McCunes. I know there's plenty of families that were out there, but those parents are awesome, and the more help you can get from those people, the easier your program runs.
So you've had a little time to wrap your head around it, and your first year in. Do you have any thoughts on how that kind of went for you, and what you want to do going forward differently or the same, or what worked, what didn't work?
I think our biggest thing at Lakeview that we need to make it just more of a community event around the football program, and that's really what I want it to be. And you got some great examples around the SMAC that you go to these places and you just see the atmosphere, the love for football by the community, and that's really where we want to go at Lakeview, is to get that community back into Lakeview football. And it's going to start, down at those lower levels, the LYA, up to the middle school program. And I know that we've got people around the program that really, really want to make the program great. And there's a guy, Scott Waltman. He's a guy that at the beginning of the year, he was just, hey, can I do anything to help out the program? We had him filming a little bit, and he's a guy that, he's building things for us, and he's going to be building a records board for the weight room, and he's just willing to volunteer. And those type of people are awesome to have around. Not looking for money, not looking for anything other than just to help out. And we're looking to obviously build more of that around Lakeview and build that environment. We want to be like what it is down in Lakeshore. As you go down the Lakeshore, firecrackers are going off. They got tailgating going on before it. It is, you can't even get in the parking lot. It's so thick, full of people, and that's where we want to go to.
Yeah. Well, it's a good start this year, like you said, to end the season with some wins and some momentum, and the kids are excited about the program, and the guys coming back, I'm sure are. They're already in the weight room, like you said, so that's fun to see. And we'll talk about the younger groups there next week as we go on through here, and we'll talk about your JV and maybe the freshman team next week. So appreciate you, Coach, for coming down all season, and we'll do that next week.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't even mention my JV freshman coaches, so hopefully next week they can get on in here and tell about the great work that they've been doing along with our middle school coaches.
We'll do it. Appreciate Coach coming down here. Thanks a lot. We'll be talking with our next coach of the morning here on WBCK.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
That's Bill Broderick back with our next coach of the morning on Coach's Corner. Coach Mason Converse of the Harbor Creek Beavers. How's it going, Coach?
Good morning, Bill. It's a great morning.
We are here to talk about the wrap up the season a little bit more after you guys finished out last week in the playoffs. Harbor Creek went 6-3 in the regular season, made the playoffs. The only city team to get that far, and then you had a rematch with Parma Western in week 1 there, and you fell short against them in that. But you had a great season to look back on, and the Beavers took a step forward after going 3-6 last year. Talk about that a little bit and what that meant to you guys.
Well, before we get started on that, I want to give a shout out to Coach King and Coach Stickney and our volleyball girls. They won the district title last night at Harper Creek, and what a great night and a great environment it was at Harper Creek last night, and to beat a rival Coldwater. But really, just our girls played outstanding volleyball, and couldn't be more proud of them. And we've had a great fall so far in all of our sports. And congrats to Coach King and their success last night.
Yeah, that was a fun atmosphere all week in volleyball. It has been, especially the Lakeview Harper Creek game on Wednesday in the semifinals. The place was packed, and that was a nice look for volleyball, especially. And then last night, no one disappointed. The kids came out. The student section was large and in charge, and it was fun for Harper Creek and the district title. They got to raise a trophy, so that's a lot of fun. So I'm sure you guys will be looking forward to doing a little bit of that on the football program going forward, right?
That's our goal. We want to get back to winning district titles and winning league championships, and we did come a long ways this year. We were 3-6 a year ago, and really, if we look back to COVID in 2020 and then even in 2021, we had been on kind of an uphill descent. I think we finished at 5-3 or 6-3 in the COVID year. Everything was shortened that year, and then we were 6-3 and 21 in league champs, and we're in the district finals. And then, so we thought, really, you know what, we had things going, and things would continue to kind of spiral in a positive direction. And we stubbed our toe last year and went 3-6. There's a lot of reasons for that. And we sat down, this group of young men that we had this year, sat down in the off season and talked about why we felt things didn't go so well, what do we need to do different, and they really bought in right from the start. We started meeting in December. We had a leadership council and started meeting every couple of weeks and talking about the pulse of the team, what were things that we needed to do, what were things that we were doing well, and things that maybe we needed to improve upon, and not just like big picture stuff, but like day-to-day, week-to-week things. And I couldn't be more proud of those guys, because it was a group of freshmen all the way up to seniors, and they set the stage and set the tone right there for how this team was going to be. And it's one of the reasons why we came out of the gate 4-0, and were able to win some close games early on too with Lakeview and BCC, and those were two terrific city games and city rivalry games, and just a really good season to be proud of.
Yeah, they'll end up being those early games were huge to your season. Got them going the right way. They go the other way, then things could be a lot different. But that momentum helped a lot and got you guys going the right direction. And a playoff season especially is a great way to get things going. And now you're in the off season. I'm sure the day after the games ended, you guys got together and talked about the off season. What are the priorities for the Harper Creek Beavers in the off season?
Well, we've got to continue to get stronger. We saw in our game against Parma that they were bigger, stronger, and faster than us, and we've put a lot of work in the weight room, but we need to continue to do more work in the weight room. And so it starts with that, and that also builds toughness in terms of mental toughness and physical toughness. And when you're pushing yourself and your teammates in the weight room, it makes a big difference come fall. And we do that with all of our athletes. So we do a great job and it's not easy. It's not easy. We have to work really hard. The counselors do a nice job of working with me, but we do a great job at Harper of getting as many of our athletes as possible in weight training, and it's paying off.
And part of the whole process is the coaching staff. Harper Creek has an experienced coaching staff, has been around the program for a while, and they all kind of came up through the program like you did. And talk about what they bring to the table and how important that staff is to you.
So our coaching staff, we're really blessed. We've got 18 coaches on staff, and that includes myself. But our freshman staff of Brian Eiler, he's our head coach and was our first-year head coach and as a freshman coach this year. He was our defensive coordinator on JV last year. And we've got Talon Bradley, Matt Brownell, Brody McCurchie, Andy Fry, and TJ Simpson. And that might be the most important level at the high school level, because you're really teaching the fundamentals of what we do at the high school. And they did a tremendous job this year of working with the young men. It's really a transition from middle school or junior football also into high school, and so it's different. It's a little different for the parents. It's a little different for the kids, and they just did a tremendous job. And they finished 7-2 on the year and had a great season, and really worked a lot on the fundamentals, which is really important. Our JV staff of Larry Quick, Mike Van Sickle, John Bolton, and Jacob Ott, we did a lot of coaching together this year, meaning the JV and varsity spend a lot of time together and do a lot of practice things together. But again, we always, one of the things we talk about, we don't exchange JV film with other teams. We always want to work on getting better at what we do, what Harper Creek does, and they had an outstanding season. They finished 8-1, but more importantly, they really worked on the fundamentals of what we do as well. And then our varsity staff of Derek Stansberry, Pete Converse, Matt Bilger, Jeremy Johnson, Ken Horton, Robbie Crockett, and Jeremy Fuller. We added a couple of those new guys this year, and to be more position specific. And like we brought in a quarterbacks coach with Jeremy Fuller, and we brought on Coach Crockett to focus right on the running backs. And if I use Coach Crockett as a specific example, I don't think Bronson Carpenter has the year he has without Coach Crockett being on staff. So just couldn't be more proud of those guys and the work they put in. And nobody really knows the amount of time they put in. But if we go back to summer work, it was 12 weeks of the season with, before playoffs. But then if you put in summer workouts and things like that, we're talking more like 20 weeks, and that's a lot of time to donate. And nobody really understands that. They just come on Friday nights and see the end product, but it's all that work in the off season that not only the players put in, but those coaches put in too. So couldn't be more thankful to have those guys with us.
And the product doesn't get on the field, or the kids aren't looking shiny and dressed for the football games in uniform on Friday nights without a lot of people behind the scenes, including the administration and the boosters. And talk about that group and what that kind of means at Harper Creek.
So a big thanks has to go to Melissa Fiesel and Jessica Ratcliffe in our athletic office. Melissa Fiesel is our athletic director, and everybody likes to complain about their administration. I don't like to do that because there isn't much that we want for. We are really lucky at Harper Creek that we have great support from our administration, and that starts with our AD. Same with Ed Greenman and Joe Euritius and Rob Ridgway. So our principal, assistant principal, and then our superintendent. They support athletics 100%. When there are things that we need or we need to tweak or we need to make changes to, they are always listening and trying to do what's best for our kids and for our community. And they know that our athletics, especially in the fall, nothing brings the community together more than our athletics, and especially football games. I mean, you might have 4,000 or 5,000 people from the community together in one evening, and they understand that and they're very supportive of that. And we didn't have many home games this year, but we had a great environment at our home games, and it's because of the support we have from those people right there. And then we got to go to Ford Field this year. We played at Ford Field, and we have a terrific group of alumni and supporters, and David Ponschek and Brad Wilson, who's a former HC football player and a Harper Creek alumni. They really worked together with a group of alumni to get donations and really paid for our transportation, to have charter buses for both our band, for the football team, and for the cheer and pom squad to go to Ford Field. And couldn't thank those guys enough, because that stuff doesn't happen without support from the community.
So the whole process was a fun time for Harper Creek, a great season all the way around, like you said, playoffs, Ford Field, a season to remember. What's the final takeaway for you in terms of how that kind of went for you?
A season to be proud of. Not where we want to be yet, but a season to be proud of. So, I mean, our end goal, if we look back at all the positive things, and it was a tremendous season, and to come back from a 3-6 year, get to 6-3, we should be very proud, and we are very proud. And we've talked about this with the boys already too, but our end result is to be the first Harper Creek team to ever win a state championship. So will we get there? Maybe. But it's part of the process. That's the fun part of the process, is working hard to get there and enjoying that journey along the way. So we're going to continue to bust our tails to take the next step to win a league championship, to win a district title, and hopefully someday become that first team to play on Ford Field for a state championship. Right. And we've got a lot of really good things going. And Corey Ledbetter in Harper Creek Junior Football, he and I work really well together, and we've got great groups of young men coming all the way up through from even third grade on up. We've got over 300 kids in our junior football program. And again, there's a lot of schools in this area, or even in the state of Michigan, that are talking about tough to get numbers out. We've been really fortunate and are doing something right here because we have terrific numbers. And as long as we keep doing things in a positive way and making our young men and families feel like this is the place to be, it's going to continue to grow and get better from there. So really proud of the partnership we have with junior football as well too, and good things are coming.
All right, we'll talk about some of those sub-levels next week with some of your sub-level coaches. And it's been a good season and fun to talk to you all year long, Coach, and we'll do it again next fall.
Sounds great. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks a lot, Coach. We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning on WBCK.
Coach's Corner on WBCK. Brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
Hey, this is Bill Broderick of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner with our next coach of the morning. Here with Coach Lauren Granger of the Battle Creek Central Bearcats. How's it going, Coach?
Good morning. It's going pretty well.
We're talking about wrapping up the season and what the off-season looks like for all the coaches here in the city. Talk about priorities for you guys at the Bearcats and what you guys want to get accomplished in the off-season.
I think our highest priority probably is developing some leadership within our program. We were, for the majority of our season, so young that I think one of the issues that we had was just player-led leadership. And so we have some young guys that want to be leaders. They just don't know how to do it the right way. And they were in a position that we didn't expect them to have to do that this year. And so, in the off season, we got to get with those guys. We got to sit down and kind of teach them how to lead, because we have a lot of kids that do want to follow a good leader. And, you can only do so much as a coaching staff in terms of leadership. And we do all those things. But at some point, the kids, they really want to be self-led. They want to take themselves to success, and so they take the tools that we give them, and they, they go out on the field, and then we're over on the sideline, and they need that leadership from each other in order to perform and draw together after every play, and we need to develop that in the off season.
I know you guys also have a strong weight training program in the off season, and the guys getting there, and that's a big emphasis for you guys. How's that going early, or is that something you guys kind of ramp up later on?
Yeah, no, we already started. There really is no off season. There's season, and then there's preparation season, and we do a lot in the weight room. I'm very passionate about that and have been, for a long time. Mario Brown really kind of, he's a weight room guy too. In fact, he's in there 2 times a day, year round, even during football season. So we run a morning session for the kids at, 5:30, 6 a.m. And then we run one after school. And really, Mario's, 2 years ago took over as track coach, he and Jerry Miller, who are both football coaches. And so we do our training in phases. Some of it is built around strength and power, and then some of it's built around speed. And, we do a really good job trying to prepare the kids really for track season too. But even if they're not going to run track, you got to be fast on the football field. So Mario took a special interest in the speed side of things. And then, between he and Coach Q, who's my offensive line coach, they both do a really good job of, to be honest with you, kind of running the weight room now, because with all my extra duties, I'm not able to be in there every day during the whole time that we run the sessions. And so they really kind of took control of that, and they do a really good job. I think, to be honest, the highlight of our season, if you look at in terms of our players, are the guys that spend a lot of time with those 2 guys. On our offensive line, if those guys are spending a lot of time with Coach Q, they're really good players. And we had some really good players on our offensive line this year. And we had a really good player on our offensive line that transferred to another school and ended up being Offensive Player of the Week a couple of times for that school down in Texas. And that's all because of the development that Coach Q takes them through. And then, from our skilled position-wise, the guys that had the most success in those positions are the guys that spent the most time with Coach Mario. And so they do a real good job with that program, and we'd like to take it up another level in the off season this year with some tracking software and really tracking results. And there's apps out there that the kids can put on their phone that'll tell them exactly how much weight they need to be lifting, how many times they need to lift it, and then they enter the data in there, and then it tells them what they should be doing the next time. And it's really great tracking software, and it kind of takes you to another level in terms of your training, because we do tracking and everything right now, but it's all done on paper. And you'll see our kids actually carrying a paper around the weight room and writing down what they're lifting.
You mentioned some of the coaches there as you're talking about that on your staff. Talk about how those guys affected your program and what they kind of made of your program, your coaching staff.
It's amazing. We're adults, so you take it for granted sometimes. that's what they should do. But, I look at my coaching staff, and many of those guys have been with me for many years. And I don't know that we've ever had a year as tough as this one. Even when I first took over as head coach, when we weren't winning very many games, we didn't have the adversity in those years that we faced this year. I didn't have a single coach that didn't show up for practice. I didn't have a single coach that just walked away and said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I have a lot of volunteers too. We have some paid coaches, but we have some volunteers. And when guys come in and say they want to volunteer in our program, I tell them right away, I say, can you commit to being here all the time? Because I can't have you part-time. If you're developing a relationship with a teenage kid, and that teenage kid has something they're facing in their life, and then you don't show up on Wednesday, and they don't know why, and I don't know why. They have enough adults walking in and out of their lives. I'm not going to let you be another one. And so I ask my volunteers to be there every day. It's a full-time commitment, just like if they were being paid. And not one guy walked away from us, despite all the circumstances that we were facing. And I got to give my coaching staff a lot of credit, because at times we get frustrated, even with each other, but everyone stuck with it. Everyone believed in what we were doing, and it was amazing to see, really. I mean, I credit a lot of our kids for the same thing, because at 16, 15 years old, to go through some of the things we were going through and stick with it, I think it takes a lot.
So the Bearcat family, it takes a lot to run that program, and you have a lot of people on the outskirts that do that for you, and I'm sure that you want to thank them a little bit too as we go.
Yeah, we have a number of support staff outside of our coaching staff that really did a great job for us throughout this year. We just had our banquet on Thursday, and what a beautiful banquet it was. I mean, I walked in, 30 minutes before it was supposed to start, and I had a group of parents that had been there setting up for 2 hours. Maybe longer, actually, because every table had a tablecloth and a centerpiece. They had balloons everywhere. They had posters hanging up. They had table decorations for all the seniors. They had gifts put at the chairs for every single senior and every single coach. And they had a whole, buffet of food set up, and it was just an amazing thing, and you don't always have that support when you go 0-9. And the person who led it all, Christy Goins, her kids don't even play for us anymore. Matter of fact, I'm going to watch her son play college football after this down at Siena Heights, and this is his 4th year at that school, and she's still leading the charge with our Gridiron Club. And she organized that whole thing and set it all up. There's several others that pitch in, of course, to do the hard work. Tiffany is a mom of one of our linebackers, and she actually was one of my students back in, 2002. I had her in math class, and now her son's playing for us, and, she has a lot to do with the Gridiron Club with regards to setting all that stuff up and feeding the kids on Wednesdays. And, unfortunately Ashton's graduating this year, and I don't know if she'll be back next year or not, but Charles Sims' mom, Rochelle, she is a big contributor to that effort. There's others too. We have a few young players that have parents. Nate Kretzinger, his mom and dad were pretty involved, especially toward the end of the year. And then Graham Askew's mom, Ashley, who ironically is from the same town that I'm from. I knew her when we were little. And so she started contributing, and all of them were in that cafeteria setting everything up. And
that's great.
It was just a beautiful environment, and I'm really thankful for those parents, all those parents, even ones I didn't name, because I'm sure I'm missing somebody, for supporting us through all that.
All right. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the sub-level programs at Belcree Central next week as we get one of your JV or freshman coaches in, and we'll do that. And we'll have one more break, and then we'll close down Coach's Corner after this. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yep.
We'll be back with another break after on WBCK.
On 95.3 WBCK, proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
All right, this is Bill Broderick. Battle Creek Enquirer, back on our final segment of Coach's Corner. Coach Robbie Hatton couldn't make it with us today, but with Penfield Panthers went 4-5 on the season, and we talked a lot about that last week. And we'll talk about the Penfields, what they have coming up from the sub-levels next year on the freshman and the JV teams. That they come, I know they're excited about a lot of those young guys and excited about how the program is going. And hopefully we'll talk to one of their coaches from the JV or varsity team next week about the Penfield Panthers after they went 4-5 this year. The other stuff going on in the area in high school sports is cross-country state finals today, and we have some league swimming going on. So follow everything on Battle Creek Enquirer or and then also on WBCK 95.3 online. And we'll be back next week on Coach's Corner on WBCK.